and check things out. All right, quarter 4, first recorded class. We are studying change currently. And last week, we looked at how big a step should be, what kind of steps do you take, how do you reflect on those steps, and also that those steps don't necessarily go into the line of improvement that we expect. Sometimes they meander, sometimes they take back steps. But the idea is, if you are reflecting and learning from the steps you take, you will keep being able to orient yourself in the right direction. Okay. So I asked you to take, to either add a positive, this person in, add a positive beneficial step, or take away a negative detrimental step, your choice, and to see if you can carry it through each and every day for 4 days. And we're going to kind of find the result here. So, did you take the step you said you would? About a third could do it all 4 days. 41%, or the biggest amount, did it a few times, so they missed a day or two. And 26.5% are nope, thought about it, didn't get it into action, which we're trying to overcome, right? How do we get out of our heads and into doing? I missed or skipped a day, right? And again, that is worded as in like something happened to me or I choose to do something, but 2/3, yeah, right? 2/3 skipped or missed a day, and 20% didn't start. And again, I thank you for your honesty, right? Because that helps me actually steer into reality versus this utopia in my mind. Okay. So only 4 people, which is an interesting from the top here, 4 people did it every day. 4 people were able to do their step each and every day. Interesting. So if you missed a day, how did you react? Almost 60% of you were fine with it. Second biggest, 14.7%, were frustrated or disappointed. So you had a negative reaction, right? Versus, oh, this happened, let me adjust, let me change from it. The rest of these are all versions of I didn't do it. Okay. How did you missing a day change the behavior the next day or next couple of days? So for the most part, this is solid, right? In general, 58% were fine with it, and almost 56% fixed it on the next day. You didn't let a misstep, if you will, derail you. You adjusted and you got to it the next day, which is great. And then, right, interesting, look at this comparison. The frustrated and disappointed people quit and gave up. Right? So that negative reaction to failure made us stop trying, made us stop reflecting, made us stop figuring things out. Right? It matters. Reactions matter. All right. So, ask you with words, what did you learn from skipping or missing a day? Okay. It's okay to mess up because you can fix it. We generally learn the most from a failure or a mess up because we don't want to mess up again. You're not going to see results if you're not consistent, didn't start and or forgot, right? It's kind of same baseline. All your effort can go to waste in an instant. Really like that answer. You need to put more effort in. And again, instead of thinking, I need to try harder, how do we take the appropriate step that we actually can take and want to take? There's a difference there, right? Do you see this as something you're being forced to do? Because again, I asked you what you wanted. I didn't give you a goal. I asked you for what it is that you want. So if you find the appropriate step that won't derail you, that won't be too big to make you fail or too small to not make you feel accomplished, then you can keep moving in the direction that you want to move in. Okay. Now this kind of mentality. Doesn't really take a toll, but doesn't really mean to stop my goal. Now, these last words, I mean, I could if I want to. I could if I want to. Right? Well, why don't you want to? And is that a cop-out for not being able to do it? I see the same thing in class, right? I can make this shot if I tried. Well, what's stopping you from trying? Right? And also like this one, it felt weird that I didn't do it. I made it up. I wanted it. It seemed so small and I still didn't get to it. Right? So even that is an interesting reflection. And it's important that you're able to observe these things. If you did not miss a day, and you'll see kind of the ability for people to read and answer the appropriate questions are off. But if you did not miss a day, what did you learn or notice? This person has stuff on their mind. Missed days, did not try. So here, trying to improve my backhand in tennis. And my coach told me to bend my legs lower and to start my racket from low to high to hit it faster and good. I gave it a try and started to get better at hitting my backhands, right? So the accumulation of these 4 days, this kid was given feedback. Then he used that feedback and he got better and more consistent in his backhands. Okay, that is what he learned. He learned the skill, not necessarily reflecting on the skill. Okay. Then I ask, okay, from here, whether you tried and failed, whether you didn't try, whether you succeeded, what is your next step? Will you keep it and add another, or will you exchange it out? Okay, so 14.7%, which I'm very curious, is the same amount here. My guess is that they're related. Could be completely circumstantial. But if we speak about those folks that were frustrated because they didn't do it, and then they're going to stop this step and try something harder. If I did not / could not / was not willing to do the smaller piece, what makes me think a more challenging piece is going to engage me? This is just for them to reflect on, right? The next two are kind of split by an edge. They're going to keep it and add another step. You don't lose the skill. You don't forget about the thing that you did. Ideally, you want to build on it. So we've gotten to point 1. We stay this high and we try to add point 2. The other group is going to kind of stay with just this step. They're not ready to keep going. They're going to stay with this step, really hone it in, really make it automatic. And then when they can, they'll add another one here and there when they can. But first, they're really going to lock it down. They need more than 4 days. Okay. Again, everything, all doable, all workable, none right, none wrong. Just kind of putting it out there. But are you enjoying the process of experimenting with change? Almost 90% say yeah. Right? Again, studying change is studying yourself. Do you have the skill and are you willing to do that? Okay. All right. If you didn't miss a day and were able to stay consistent, what step did you take and what is your next step? Okay. And the real quick ones to answer, and it's interesting because these come in how they were when they came in. So these people, for example, turned it in first, and the ones that turned in first didn't try. They didn't do what they were asked, but they finished the assignment. So what's the point of the assignment if you weren't able to do what you were asked, right? Okay, stay confident, stay motivated. Able to stay consistent. Started to volley with my friend and working on my backhand close to the net. Once I got better, I started to get further away from the net, right? Increased challenge by increasing distance. Now, interesting enough, he says at the end here, I think the next step is to improve in my serves. So my question back to this person is, are your backhands excellent? Are they your best weapon? Do they feel that comfortable that you're just going to like change gears to a different skill? Again, not trying to judge, say right or wrong, but if you're trying to work on your backhands, you might need more than 4 days to really perfect them. So instead of saying my next step is to go from this skill to the next skill, backhands to serving, maybe my next step is backhands 1 to backhands 2. Right? If you're really looking at this skill. If you're just looking to get better at tennis, that's your real goal, then yeah, you might want to go from backhands to serves in a general sense. But if you're looking to get better at backhand, you might want to stay with that focus. If you missed a day and were unable to stay consistent, what step did you try and what is your next step? Okay. It's hard, but I kept trying. My goal was to stop eating chips. At first, I craved a lot and ate some. Then I said, no more chips, and I stopped. Now, when I eat chips, they taste weird for me, right? You have funked them. You have attributed a negative association with them because you felt out of control and kind of in your mind, you kind of said that they were bad and did bad things to you. So they tasted bad. And we can do this with our mind. Oh man, so this person tried looking for a personal trainer so I can have someone to motivate me and eat healthier, right? Is the trainer necessary? Just gonna pause on that question. Is there any of these steps that you could do on your own? Did a little extra the next day and the day after that, small steps. Tried to start again and I did. Tried to add on my usual routine and the next step was to change up the time I started and ended my routines, right? So I'm going to fold it in here and then I'm going to adjust the time of my activity, right? So I added in once and then I filled it in twice. More consistency, more volume, more repetition. Good. These last basket questions are really just looking at big picture. So I am able to make adjustments on my own, that winding path of steps. I am able to navigate that. 91% say yes, which is fantastic, right? This is telling me that there isn't much help needed here. I need help knowing where to start. This tells me you do need a bit of help here, right? Almost 50% said I need help knowing where to start. If you give me the beginning of the trail, I can take it. Or if you lead me to a point, I can take it from there. So I'll have to incorporate this starting points, which is interesting on a realm where everybody can do what they want to do. I have to kind of find a generic starting point and teach that skill. And even bigger, I need help figuring out where to go next, right? So almost 50% is to start and 60% is where do I go next? So again, it seems like I have willing people, just not necessarily reflective people. If you show me where to go, I will go there. If you push me in a direction, I will move in that direction. But most of this is dictated on that guide saying here and here. Again, if the guide is removed, do you start? Where do you start? Where do you go? Do we just sit? All right, and then the biggest piece of all, I need help sticking with what I say I'm going to do, right? Notice how the blue kind of from here, start, next, to be a person of my word to myself. Almost 70%. Which ties into motivation, which ties into instruction, which ties into, again, making this easy for yourself versus this challenge. The skills of adjusting, the skills of making change. And that's what we will keep building on as we move forward. Let's stop share and stop record real quick.